Chapter 10. Religion. Bishop Fulton J. Sheen one time proclaimed, "The definition of an atheist, a person with no invisible means of support." Can your God answer the phone? Rummaging through boxes of old photos, letters, newspaper clippings in the basement, I came across a copy of a letter that my mother had written to her parents when I was just 4 in 1943. Here's what she said. "I tried to explain to Ricky some of the things about God. I told him God is everywhere and takes care of him all the time. He thought about it for a few minutes and then said, 'Well, if God takes care of me all the time, why do you get a babysitter when you go out?' Well, that did make God seem ineffectual, so I replied, 'Well, that person is here to answer the phone.' And then Ricky said, 'Well, if God is so great, why can't he answer the phone?' Oh dear. At 4, I had no idea what God is, or, of course, atheism. Most of my relatives were lightweight Protestants, like Methodists. Speaking of Methodists, a friend who has a master's degree in divinity told me a little joke they had at the seminary. It went like this. Methodists are just Baptists who can read. Presbyterians are just Methodists who went to college. Episcopalians are just Presbyterians who did well on their investments. On the other hand, my mother's mother was a devout Christian Scientist. So I got shuffled off to Sunday school for a few years. I bought into it wholeheartedly, hook, line, and sinker. When I was about 10, I went to a Wednesday evening testimonial meeting in our neighborhood. Me and all the blue-haired ladies. At one point, a man about 50 got up and held his arm high in the air. "Last week," he said, "this arm was chopped off in a terrible work accident. I knew the truth about Mary Baker Eddy and her book, Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures, and my arm grew back." Seriously, everyone seemed to totally believe this miraculous healing story, including me. Toward the end of the meeting, with my heart pounding like a jackhammer, I wanted to give a testimonial too. So I stood up and I said, "Last week, I had a bad cold. I prayed to Jesus and knew that I was made in God's image, and so I could not be sick. It was just my error in thinking, and now my cold is gone." Afterwards, all the blue-haired ladies came over to congratulate me on my fine testimonial. I was so proud. Maybe that's where I got the first idea that this public speaking stuff could be fun. As far as the content is concerned, a few years later in high school biology, I learned about something called the immune system. Maybe God, plus my immune system, had done the job. And a few years later, it dawned on me that it was just the immune system. By the way, statistics show that the Christian Science religion is sinking like a stone. Membership is declining, and churches are closing. Since the 1870s, when religious fanatic Mary Baker Eddy started the whole thing, science and medical practice have made spectacular progress. Medical practice today actually heals people. Religion does not, unless it's psychosomatic. Even there, today we know so much more about the mind-body relationship, which is physical, by the way, not religious. But Christian Science isn't alone in losing members. In 1990, on surveys about religious preference, roughly 10% answered none. By the year 2020, over 26% answer none. The nones, as the researchers call them, are the largest group in the country, more than Catholics and more than all the Protestant sects together, according to the Pew Research Center.